Mixtape Radio. Welcome to Mixtape Radio. I'm Mike Shea, and we're back for another week with something a little bit different for you on today's show. This show is brought to you by Cinescape Media. You can learn more about this show and all other shows and everything else going on over there by going to their website at cinescape.media. Now, let me break down how this show is going to be different from the past. This week, instead of musicians and bands, we're going to be checking out some awesome stand-up comedy albums from rising comedy stars. But enough talking for now. Let's get into the jokes. It's really hard to get into the nuances of comedians' jokes. Sure, I can sit here and say, this comedian tells jokes that are original and unique and funny, but you can say that about pretty much any comedian out there. The only real way to get to know a comedian's sense of humor and style of delivery is simply to experience it. So this week I won't be doing as much describing of what you're going to hear and more just introducing them to you so you can enjoy the bits for yourself. Now, this first comedian is a fellow from Los Angeles named Dave Anthony. He's been making people laugh since the 90s. He got his start in San Francisco, then headed east to New York, and then back west to Los Angeles, where he's been ever since. Here's a bit from his album, Shame Chamber.
Miss New York. I was single out in New York, which was, I wasn't very good at it. I'm not really I love crazy women. That was my thing. I would always find the craziest ones. Like even one time I tried answering a personal ad, right? So, and that's when you read them in the paper back in the old days, when it was just some crazy. And I call this woman up the first time. We're talking on the phone, and it's going great. I'm like, oh, this is nice. She's a nice lady, and we're talking. And then we end up talking for like an hour. And I'm like, this is fantastic. And then she starts getting a little personal. And then she starts getting a little too personal. And she actually goes, hey, I've had sex in the park. And I've had sex in the subway. And I've had sex in Grand Central Station. Ask me anything. Ask me anything you want. Are you homeless? You should get a box or something. Maybe an umbrella. One girl I dated, we were dating for a little while, and it was the night we were gonna have sex. It was a big fucking night, and it's about to happen, right? The moment, you know, when you start fucking. And she looks at me and she goes, I feel like Jesus is watching. I mean, is there a worse thing that you, except for maybe, hey, there's my dad. Hi, Dad. Like, there's nothing you can say that's worse. It's like, well, my dick is in my body now, so like, I didn't lose a hard-on. Like, my dick is gone. Like, it's gone. And what kind of Jesus is that? What kind of crazy, creepy Jesus do you have? Just up there in heaven watching people fuck like a six-pack and pork rinds. Come on! Slap her ass for Jesus! Jesus only wants us to do it from behind. Okay, whatever. He's your Jesus.
That was Dave Anthony with some jokes from his album Shame Chamber, which you can pick up at the link in the description. Now, our next comedian is a guy by the name of Jeff Zimmerman, and if there's one word that can describe this guy, it's professional. His website bio is thorough and well-written and reads almost like a resume for a big corporate job. The guy takes this shit seriously, and he damn well should because he's very good at it. Here's a bit from his album, Why You Should Be Happy.
I cook a lot. I don't mind telling you that I am excellent at it, too. You should be so lucky. But I make this broccoli salad with like sesame and garlic and olive oil and just the right amount of crushed red pepper that is to die for. And it doesn't matter how big the vessel is that I put out at a party. I could put out a kiddie pool full of this stuff and it's going to be gone by the end of the party, right? My 6-year-old nephew, typically a very anti-broccoli demographic. He's just cookie monsters and stuff. So I'm Googling around to figure out how can I make this recipe even better. Turns out it's not possible, but you gotta try, right? You strive for perfection, but it turns out you've already achieved it. And so I gotta tell you, we gotta stop using the language of addiction to describe stuff we just like a whole lot. I saw so many health and wellness blogs with a similar recipe that referred to it as broccoli crack salad. I mean, it's hateful, right? As if millions of Americans lost their loved ones to a cruciferous salad that is nutritious and very high in fiber. If anything, my broccoli salad is nothing like the crack epidemic, because white people are incapable of ignoring my broccoli salad.
That was Jeff Zimmerman with some jokes from his album, Why You Should Be Happy. Check it out at the link in the description. Now, all of the tracks featured on today's show were purchased legally through Bandcamp, but we also love it when you get music sent to us by you guys. So if you'd like to have your music shared on this show, just send an email to mixtaperadiopod@gmail.com. Tell me your name, a little about your style, where your stuff can be found online, and most important of all, a song or a track you'd like to have played. If you don't send me music, this whole thing falls apart. We answer every email that we get, and we check that mailbox daily, so don't waste any time. Send us your music to mixtaperadiopod@gmail.com. Now, this next comedian on our list is a hilarious dude from Portland named Nathan Brannon. He's gotten to open for major talents like Dave Chappelle, Maria Bamford, and even Damon Wayans. And he was named Portland's funniest person in 2012. Let's laugh at some of Nathan's jokes from his album, Because.
I love my son, man. Like, he's so great. He loves his own son. That's amazing. Just don't see that these days. But it's nuts, man. He's the second coolest dude I've ever met in my entire life, which is saying a lot. Like, he'll get to number one. It's just his music collection sucks right now. He's got to build that up. It's all nursery rhymes. That shit's old, man. Get with the times. But, I mean, there's not a lot of bad things I can say about my son. Like, if you had to pull my arm and make me pick something, I guess it would probably be he's a damn psychopath, and I don't know how to deal with it just yet. Like, he's insane, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, he has these beautiful eyes, but sometimes he can stare at you, and it goes straight to your soul, man. I'm a grown man. I'm afraid in my own house, right? He spits his pacifier out every time like somebody just punched him in the mouth. Every single time. He wipes his own mouth. He's 10 months old. That's the gangster shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Are you serious? Like, a weekend, we brought him home, right? I'm changing his diaper, and he's real pissed off. He's all crying and everything like that. And I'm trying to console him, and for the first time since we brought him home, we lock eyes. He recognizes that I'm his dad, man. And that's crazy. And it's hard to explain to people who aren't parents, but that changes your life, man. Like, this flood of memories come back to you, and you just start thinking about stuff. Like, my dad died right before he was born, right? And then I started thinking about my dad and all the stuff I said to my dad. Like, I said I hated my dad once, you know? I said that to him. And he looked at me the same way I'm looking at my kid right now. I was like, man, this baby that I love this much is one day gonna be like, I hate you. That broke my heart, man. So I started crying. I wept like a little kid. And I was waiting for him to join in. But he didn't join in. He just took his free hand, reared back, and slapped me in the face. A week in. Who does that? You fucking psychopath? Are you serious? He never broke eye contact. You know how crazy you have to be to slap somebody in the face and then not break eye contact even after the slap? That's something that a pimp does, or a prison warden or something like that. Bap! How am I supposed to raise somebody like that? The only reason I'm doing a good job now is because I'm bigger than him. I outweigh him. That's it. I don't know what I'm going to do when he's bigger than me, man. I have no idea. Like, I know it's a terrible thing to shake a baby, right? You should never, ever shake a baby. I get that. But what about showing that baby video of other babies getting shook? He's got too much confidence. I gotta take him down a couple notches. I'm gonna be in control, you know? If anybody didn't get that joke, just ask a black dude that watches the news a lot. He'll explain it to you. Oh, fuck you. Look, I'm not making this shit up. Man, you are not gonna like this next joke then.
That was Nathan Brandon off his album Because. Pick up a copy at the link in the description. Now, if you'd like to stay up to date with this show, get more involved, be a part of the team, as it were, you can follow us on social media. Mixtape Radio Pod is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using the handle Mixtape Radio Pod. Follow along so you can let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, and even send us some music for the show. Now, coming up next on the Mixtape Radio comedy stage is a funny lady by the name of Emily Heller. She's another comic from the Los Angeles area, and when it comes to marketing, she's got a very uniquely funny way of doing it. But don't just take my word for it. Let Emily tell you herself off her album, Pasta.
I did bring all of you a present for being here tonight, to thank you for coming to the show, just because I'm generous. It's not anything big. It's just a little card that goes in your wallet so that, like, if you lose it and someone finds it or they stole it or whatever, they see the card, they know you're a fan, they maybe get it back to you faster. So on the front of it, it just says, "Attention please, this wallet belongs to a fan of comedian Emily Heller. If you stole it or found it, please return it immediately because its owner has very good taste in comedy and has therefore earned your decency. The owner is probably very sad that this card in particular is missing, as it is a memento of the night that their dream, seeing Emily Heller perform live, came true." And then there's like a place for you to write your email or whatever. And then on the back, like just in case, it just says, "If you are unable to return this wallet to its owner, please honor the wishes of this wallet's owner, as implied by their possession of this card, and check out the comedy of Emily Heller online. Use the money enclosed to buy her album, Good for Her, on Kill Rock Stars, and any other merchandise that may have become available since the printing of this card." And then it has like my website and stuff. So that's free for everyone who's here. If you're listening to the album, get your ass to a show. Because these are real. This is not a joke. I have 1,000 of them. You can pick them up on the way out. I mean, it is a joke, but it'll also very abruptly stop being a joke as soon as they find one of these on a dead body. And then I am a person of interest.
There's not a lot of time left in today's show, folks. Before we get to our final comedian, I wanted to let you guys know that you can be a part of the team here at Mixtape Radio by joining our Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/mixtaperadiopod, and for only $3 a month, you can become an executive producer of Mixtape Radio. You get all kinds of cool rewards, and you can help us continue to purchase all the music that we play on this show, so that the support goes to the artists themselves. Now, our final comedian of the show comes to us all the way from London. He's a funny guy by the name of Stuart Goldsmith. He's also the host of the Comedian's Comedian podcast, and he's even appeared on Conan O'Brien. So let's round out today's show with a bit from his album, Compared to What?
I think everybody is a very different person on the outside, aren't we? We've all got a secret internal self, and we've got a version of ourselves that we project to the world. Obviously, you'd have to do that, or you'd go mad. You only need to look as far as a biker, like a proper hardcore motorcycle legend, clad in leather, facial tattoo, big billowing beard, caning it down the motorway at 90 miles an hour on his Harley. No matter how tough he looks, we know, don't we, that in his head he's thinking, wee. You have to be. Why else would you put up with the danger of riding a motorbike if you didn't bloody love it like a toddler? And it is, I can see some of you frowning, it is dangerous. If you invented the motorbike today, you would not get it made legal. If you went to the DVLA and said, right, what it is, new invention, it's like a car, except it only has 2 wheels, and you go on the outside. Bit dangerous, isn't it? No, it's fine, because you go twice as fast as everyone else. It's insane. Well, presumably on a special track. No, you just fuck about in and out of traffic. Just freestyle, do what you want. Do you know, I don't think motorcyclists realise the extent to which everyone else on the road is desperately trying to keep them alive. When I see one in my rear view mirror, I don't think, cool guy. I'm too busy thinking, I'm not going to prison for you. As a result, some of them have got quite sneaky about road safety, which I do appreciate. I think it's cunning. I wish I'd come up with this myself. Your average motorcyclist will very often try to dress up a little bit like the police, right? They can't impersonate the police, can they? That would be illegal. But they can put they can have a white helmet with blue and white checks on it, just enough that an approaching driver goes, I'm going to fuck him off the road. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe the car ran out of the way. Sensible idea. Some of them will go as far as to wear a neon jacket with big block capital letters across the back saying polite. You seen that? Like you're going to go, right, I'm going to take him out. Oh no, he seems nice. That's fine. Now, I think that's sneaky. I admire it. But every time I see that, and obviously I don't want anyone to be involved in any sort of an accident, every time I see one of those, I cannot help but fantasize about arriving at the scene of a motorbike pileup, driving a van that looks like an ambulance. I'm sorry, look, I'm a parrot medic. I'm a paramedic. I only do exotic birds. If you've broken your wing, I could fix your wing. No, I'm sorry, that's all I can do. Have some seed. Have some seed. Sorry.
That was Stuart Goldsmith off his album Compared to What. You can pick up that album, his entire discography, and a best of compilation at the link in the description. Well, I hate to say it, but that brings us to the end of the show. I know, I'm sad too. But not to worry, we'll be back again with 5 new artists, 5 new songs. Make sure you follow us on all social media at Mixtape RadioPod. Remember, if you'd like your music featured on the show, just send an email to mixtaperadiopod@gmail.com. And you can become an executive producer of the show by going to patreon.com/mixtaperadiopod. This show is a proud member of Cinescape Media. To learn more about everything they've got going on, go to cinescape.media. I'm Mike Shea, and this has been Mixtape Radio. We'll catch you again next time, and until then, support your local musicians and your local comedians.